Welcome, guys. Andre with Eagle Express. Wanted to answer the most common question that I get still to this day. It was the most common question last year, and now people who were waiting last year to get into the business, they keep asking it this year again. Is now a good time to get into the business? Is 2024 better than 2023? How are things? How is January? How is winter? How is the economy? Well, everybody knows how the economy is, but you know, how is the freight business, and did things pick up? No, they did not pick up. And as far as when they'll pick up, nobody knows. Fuel has gone down. With the fuel, some of the rates have gone down in some different places. Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Utah, all the slow places that are normally really slow with freight, they've gotten even worse, just because there's not even enough for the people that are locals here to be able to cover these loads. So there's not enough of regular freight for them, so anything, even expedite that comes out, they grab it, you know what I mean? But I mean, we're still surviving, we're still going. East Coast is moving, East Coast is still cheap. Wherever there's competition, wherever there's, basically the bigger the city, the more the competition, the more of an industrial area it is, the more competition is out there. So in the end, you're not competing just with yourself, you're competing with many other vehicles that are in that area as well. So things get cheap that way too, you know. If broker's listing a load and there's, you know, 10, 15, 20 different people more bidding on that same load, he's getting responses. So he's gonna ask everybody to be like $50 less or $20 less, and he's gonna go down. If your rate was 1,000, he's gonna ask like 1050 to one guy, you know, 1,000 with another guy, and maybe get down to like $700, $600 on that load. In the end, asking everybody who can, you know, can you match this? Can you match that? I don't know. Somehow I feel like sometimes people go for just a little bit of money, gas money, however it is, but the loads we bid on and we don't move, I feel like we bid very fairly on them. We have very competitive rates. I don't know if they're the cheapest rates out there or not, because, you know, the freight that we bid on and we don't win, obviously it moves, and it moves for cheaper with somebody else. So when average rates right now in January 2024 are like 80, 85 cents a mile for just basic loads, load and go, we're still being beat. We're still being told we got to be less on the price, a lot less sometimes. So I understand that if you get in an area and there's drivers sitting around for a day, 2 days, they get desperate. So then they say, just get me a load for whatever. It doesn't matter what kind of price it is. Some people just get mad and just, you know, leave the area altogether on their own. But things did not get better. The only thing that got better is, like I said, fuel got cheaper. With the fuel, the rates went down a little bit as well. And winter's always been slow. And winter's always been cheaper. And winter's always been in a slump. Every single winter. I've been doing this for 9 years. Not just driving, but dispatching as well. So you guys know that I'm not the one that, those of you that follow the channel, have been for a while, that watch a lot of the videos, you guys know that I lead by example. I don't just sit in the office. I also get out here, show you guys how it's done, what it's like. You know, that's the perfect way to lead, is by example. So you guys can see how to do it, what's the right way, what kind of an attitude you need to have out here, and how to time manage yourself. That way you actually get the most out of your day. Because, you know, if you unload and you're going to go do an oil change, well, you're losing time. You got to plan your oil changes maybe sometime over the weekends or in downtime when things are after 5 o'clock. Then go look for a place to change your oil or do some maintenance. But don't do it out right after you unload, because that's prime time where you could be actually getting a load, but dispatch is skipping until they hear back from you. So there's a lot of things that people could be doing different than what they're doing. But hey, they're the owner operator, they're the ones that are sitting behind the wheel. I can only suggest, and if the person uses and takes that suggestion and wants to help themselves, they can help themselves. If they don't and they want to do it their way, they don't care about it, then don't whine that your day is slow and the next day went bad, or you didn't get anything this day. Well, you got to be smart about the job. And sometimes we do everything we can, and drivers are doing everything they can, and things still don't pan out. It sucks. It's no good, because we're not making any money as dispatchers. Dispatcher, I don't know about other companies, but our dispatchers don't get paid hourly. We get paid commission off the load. So if you are not moving, nobody made any money that day. Your dispatcher didn't make any money that day with us. We don't do hourly pay, because you want to have a motivated dispatcher that's doing everything they can, working as hard as they can for that money. And if they don't make anything, you both didn't make anything. You know what I mean? If you're not moving, they didn't make anything either, just so you know. Other companies, I'm not sure about how they do it. Maybe other dispatchers do get paid hourly and they just sit around, playing games on their phone, if that's what they do. Sit around on Facebook, I'm not sure. I can't tell you that. But I can tell you this, that we do everything we can to get everybody loaded. And if you didn't move, then it's not good for us either, because your dispatcher didn't make any money either off of you. Just so you know. When will things get better? How soon? How quickly? I don't know. I just know a few areas to avoid for now. If you do not live here, don't come out west. As far as Washington, Oregon, Utah goes, I would stick to like Colorado and still go to California, still go to Arizona, because those are still decent places to go. You can get good mileage if you're coming from the east. Otherwise, you guys gotta stick around to like Midwest and East Coast. South is really bad as well right now, because snow, people are trying to avoid the weather, and things have gotten crappy and slow and cheap down in the South as well. So Florida's bad, in all the southern states. Anything down south of I-40, it's slower. It's slower. I'm not saying don't go there at all. You got to go, because you could be sitting in Midwest and not get anything because everything was going down south or or somewhere southwest, like California somewhere and stuff. You can still get out of California. A lot of people don't go there, but all our drivers go, and we can get them out. Or we could get them out before. But 2024 has hit, and honestly, if you guys were waiting for something spectacular, something special, I don't know when it's going to happen, because the economy's in a slump. Shippers are not shipping as much stuff. Everybody's trying to consolidate everything. It's tax season. There's many reasons and ways why, and answers why things are the way they are, but still too many people out on the road, more drivers than there should be. It just all comes together, you know what I mean? When things go well, they go well for everybody. So those of you guys who are jumping around from company to company, trying to find greener grass on the other side, we all use the same load boards. We're all dealing with the same brokers. Brokers are dealing with the same customers in the end, so you know what? It's all a big circle. No matter where you go, as long as you're being treated fairly, switching around, no, that's up to you guys. If you guys want to waste your time and, you know, other people's time switching around from company to company looking for something better, you guys can do that, but it's all the same. Like I said, in the end, the load is the same no matter what broker gets it, because their customer is the same on it. We're all, as dispatchers, bidding the same loads, so seeing the same load boards, everything's all the same. So in the end, you just got to find a happy company to work with, one that treats you well, respects you as a driver, and pray, every day pray. Consolidate your, some of my suggestions. A lot of people will say, what do you suggest? Should I buy a van or should I not buy a van? You know, who knows when things are going to get better? It's election year. Maybe it's going to be 2025 or 2026 when things pick back up. But really, you really want to sit around and wait 2 more years to wait to see if things get better then? So then more competition joins. You know, it's all everybody has a different situation with money, with how much money they need to make, with how much money they can invest in this, and with how much time you can spend on the road. So everybody's different. Some people think that they can do it locally. In the end, local loads just suck. They don't pay. You can't look at me because I'm in an area where it's just bad for freight. Bad. And whenever it comes out, nobody's really sitting around here. I mean, sometimes we do lose it because they say, oh, somebody was cheaper. So somebody would come in here for a cheap price into like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, somewhere around here. They'd come in here for a cheap price and thinking that it's easy to get out of here, and it's not. So if somebody else is sitting in Spokane and they're bidding to Seattle, well, I'm bidding to Seattle as a round trip there and back, because Seattle sucks too. And if this person's just bidding one way, then obviously they've got a better rate. But for me to get out from home, if it goes to Idaho, Washington, Montana, Oregon, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, doesn't matter. It's a one-way trip, because all these towns, they suck around here. Walla Walla, Yakima, what are you going to find there? Wenatchee. There's no loads that come out of there. Quincy, there's only things going in there once in a while, and never anything really coming out. There's never any drivers waiting there, so they do pay the deadhead in there, pay the deadhead out of these bad places. Other than that, when you're on the East Coast and you're in the big cities, you just gotta, you know, bid until you win something, because freight from big cities comes out every 30 seconds, every minute, depending where it's at, nonstop. Our freight comes out once a week, maybe once, maybe twice, 3 times a week, there's something, and a lot of times it's just a quote. It's not even a real moving shipment. So if you guys are having a hard time, you're struggling, I feel it for you. Maybe it's time to tighten up the belt. As far as maybe it's time to get rid of some of your, you know, subscriptions that you can live without and save some money on, like Netflix, Hulu, other subscriptions, maybe Wi-Fi at home, and use a hotspot from the phone, if anything. You know, see what you can do. Turn off that cable at home, and other things. Those of you who like hotel sleeping, that's a sore subject for somebody, but for some people. For me, it's not. So I sleep in the van. My van is outfitted. If you guys are spending your money on hotels, motels, because it's cold or too hot or something else, it's worth the investment to insulate your van, put a heater in, and be comfortable in it. Put a good bed in there where you can actually enjoy sleeping in it. Not just have a blow-up mattress or something to throw on the ground like a sleeping bag, or have a hammock in there. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of things, but when you only have 3, 4 hours, 5 hours a night to sleep, if even that, between your loads or between times where you're, you know, have made up time and can get some rest, you betcha I am gonna sleep comfortably, because I need to. We don't have 11 hours like the regular truck drivers to sleep. So hopefully soon, hopefully things will get better. Hopefully we're all going to start making bunch of money, but for now, if you want to get into this business, you better be prepared to be able to handle waiting, sitting around, not being, you got to be patient. Can't be quick about it. Basically, you just wait for the load. Dispatch is bidding. We're bidding nonstop. So until we win is when the driver gets to go. It's not in our power. It's not in our hands. It's not in the broker's hands most of the time either, because broker has to win the load too from their customer. In the end, God bless you guys. I hope this helped you out. If you're looking for a definite answer, should I buy a van and should I get into this year in 2024? That's up to you. If you have extra money, you like camping around in the van, I mean, you still make money. You'll make it. Just how much will you make? Everybody's situation is different. How much you'll make and how much you'll get to keep from what you make is all depending on what you yourself are able to invest in it, and how much you're going to be driving, and how much money you need to put down, and how much money you have to put down, and or if you got cash that's just laying around, you're investing in it, not costing you anything, then yeah, that's totally fine. But if you're struggling already and you want to get into a business that is struggling as well, that's not doing all that hot right now, then no. But if you got money laying around and it doesn't hurt you, and you can spend your time being out there, yeah, go ahead. This is the time. Vans are going cheaper. Vehicles are out there. It used to be that you couldn't find a van. Right now you can find vans. They're a lot cheaper than they used to be, so the best is buy it for cash, buy a used one. God bless you guys. See you next time.